My name is Natalie Keller, and I was 35 the day a manila folder tried to turn my entire life into a hostage situation. I had driven up to Logan Pierce's parents' formal living room, the one with the white sofa nobody actually sits on, thinking this would be a quick check-in about final wedding plans, flowers, head count, maybe a joke about skipping the chocolate fountain. Logan was at his aunt's bridal shower, and I'd left him there with a kiss and a teasing warning about being trapped in a room full of women debating floral arrangements. Now it was just me and his family. His father slid a manila folder across the polished coffee table toward me, the paper stiff and heavy with expectation. "Just a formality," he said, voice smooth, practiced, the kind that made PTA boards and charity committees melt. "Our attorney drafted something to protect everyone's interests." I glanced down. The folder rattled with papers that promised nothing good. His mother's eyes glistened, half wet, half dramatic. Logan's older brother leaned forward, smug in the way men do when they've convinced themselves of their own genius. And his sister, she just stared, expectant, waiting for my compliance. "Background real quick," Logan said, appearing just then in the hallway. "Everyone wanted to talk to us about something important about the crypto thing." Crypto thing. The words felt heavier than air. His brother started, all charm and confidence. "I got into crypto last year, made some early gains. Now I manage a family investment pool. Everyone puts in money. I manage it. We all get rich." His parents nodded. His sister chimed in with that fake smile I'd learned to recognize as a weapon. "It's about building family wealth, Natalie. We all contribute. You just haven't joined yet." I sat back, heart tightening. I'd been saving, meticulously, for years. $85,000, my safety net, my independence. Logan knew exactly how much, and now every single family member wanted a piece. "I'm not interested," I said carefully. "I don't put my savings into high-risk crypto. That's my money, premarital, separate accounts. You know that." His brother leaned closer, eyes gleaming. 22% returns this year. Not some random gamble. You'll regret missing this. "I'll do it with my own money," I said firmly. "But not mine, not ours, not like this." The mother sniffled. "It's just what families do. We support each other. We build together." I wanted to scream. "I support my family. I split bills with Logan. I manage our household. That's supporting family." His sister tilted her head. "But you're hoarding money that could help everyone. Isn't marriage about sharing?" I felt the room shrink. Every angle, every weaponized word. They didn't see me as an adult, a partner, an independent human. They saw my account balance. His father's face flushed red. "So, you don't trust your wife? Don't trust this family?" "I trust Logan," I said. "I just won't gamble my life savings on a family scheme." The hour stretched. Tears, shouts, judgment, manipulation. I heard every argument. I was selfish. I was insulting. I was standing against family unity. Logan stayed silent, his expression neutral, careful not to pick sides. Finally, his father stood. "We need to know where your loyalties are. Are you part of this family or not?" "I'm not giving you my savings," I said evenly. "Then you're making a choice," he said, turning to Logan. "Sweetheart, think about what kind of woman refuses to help her family. Maybe you need to make a choice too." Logan's eyes flicked to mine, silent, unreadable. I swallowed. They wanted me to crumble. I wouldn't. "Why is he making this so difficult?" his mother whimpered. "Us or him?" the father pressed. "Who do you choose?" I looked around at the expectant faces, at Logan's hesitation, at the mother crying in earnest. "I choose me," I said finally. My voice was quiet but unwavering. "I choose my savings. I choose my future. I choose to protect what I've earned. That is my choice." A heavy silence fell. The family froze, as if I had struck the room with a hammer. Logan blinked, silent, conflicted. "Understood," I added. Not to them, but to myself. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about money. It was about control, about loyalty, about bending me to their will. And I wouldn't bend. I stood, gathered my bag, and made a mental note. Whatever happened next, I would act swiftly. Protecting myself was no longer negotiable. I drove home in silence, the city lights blurring past the windshield, my hands tight on the wheel. Every word from Logan's family replayed in my head, like a recording I couldn't turn off. "Choose us or your money. We support each other. You're selfish. Do you trust him? When I arrived at my apartment, the door swung open before I could even reach for the handle. There they were, Logan's family, sitting on my couch like intruders, laughing quietly among themselves as if they owned the space. "Hi, Natalie," his mother cooed, trying for a tone of sweetness that made my skin crawl. "We just wanted to talk." "Talk?" I echoed, stepping inside. "You're in my apartment without asking. You think this is acceptable?" His father frowned, gesturing with his hands. "We're trying to help. You made a big decision back there. We need to clarify things." Clarify. I wanted to laugh, but there was no humor in this. This was coercion, pure and simple. I closed the door behind me, keeping my voice calm. "Everyone needs to leave, now." His brother smirked. "She's being dramatic. Calm down." "No, everyone out." I wasn't asking anymore. I was stating. Hours passed as they lingered, trying to guilt me, trying to convince me that they were united, that my refusal was tearing the family apart. Logan was silent, observing, unwilling, or maybe afraid, to intervene. I realized then that I couldn't rely on him to defend me. The decision was mine alone. By the time they left, exhausted from the moral gymnastics of manipulation, I felt both drained and liberated. Drained from the fight, liberated because I had finally stood my ground. I wasn't going to gamble my future to please anyone, not a family, not a partner, not even Logan. That evening, I called the divorce attorney I had researched earlier. The consultation was brief but decisive. "Document everything," she said. "Protect your assets. Move out before anyone tries to claim them." I nodded, not because she could see me, but because every word felt like armor. The next morning, I began the meticulous process of packing. Every piece of furniture, every item I owned, was photographed, cataloged, and moved to a temporary rental I had arranged. Logan's possessions remained untouched. I left a note with my attorney's contact information, clear, concise, unyielding. Text messages began immediately. "Where are you? What did you do? Call me now." I ignored them all. Voicemails piled up, screaming, pleading, accusing. My attorney's advice was simple. No contact except through lawyers. I blocked their numbers, even the ones they used to try and circumvent me. Through mutual friends, I learned what I suspected. Logan thought I would come back, that I was bluffing, that the dramatic departure was a temporary punishment. They had no idea I meant exactly what I had said. Every decision, every boundary, every choice was intentional. Logan's family's manipulation had a pattern. They had coordinated in advance, discussed strategies, and even tried to use his loyalty to pressure me. I had evidence, texts, messages, screenshots. Every step they took to breach my independence was documented, every effort to override my autonomy cataloged. And as the night fell, I felt something I hadn't in months: control. Not just over my money, my apartment, or my life, but over myself. I had finally drawn a line that no one could cross, and the only way forward was to walk it alone. I made a silent promise. This wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about my freedom, my choices, my life, and I wouldn't let anyone, family, lover, or society, steal that from me again. Stop. If you're ready, I can move on to part 3, legal strategy and manipulation revealed, where Natalie uncovers the premeditation, the family's scheming, and begins to gain an upper hand legally and emotionally. The next days were a blur of packing, phone calls, and attorney consultations. I meticulously documented everything: photos of the empty apartment, copies of messages, and screenshots of Logan's family plotting behind my back. Every moment they tried to manipulate me became evidence, and the more I collected, the more I felt my power returning. Discovery in the divorce proceedings was a revelation. My attorney obtained access to text messages between Logan and his family. Every discussion about how to pressure me, every calculation of my savings, every plan for the intervention, it was all there. Weeks of premeditation laid bare in digital ink. I read through them late one night, alone in my temporary apartment, and felt a mixture of anger and grim satisfaction. They had orchestrated this, thinking they could corner me, manipulate Logan, and claim what was never theirs. But now they had no idea I had anticipated them, had documented everything, and had the law firmly on my side. Social media became another battlefield. Logan's brother posted vague comments about people who chose money over family, painting me as selfish without naming me. Logan's family assumed they were controlling the narrative. but mutual friends were already aware of the truth. I stayed silent, letting evidence speak for itself. Every post, every accusation, every manipulation would eventually collapse under scrutiny. I remember the first time I realized the magnitude of their coordination. A message from Logan's sister. "He'll come around. He's just being dramatic. We all know he'll invest eventually." It was meant to undermine me, to seed doubt. But I smiled, knowing every word was now evidence. I had played no games. They had. My attorney filed motions meticulously, each step reinforced with documentation. The apartment invasion, the attempted bank account breach, the ongoing harassment. The court responded swiftly, granting temporary restraining orders against Logan's entire family. No contact with my work, my home, or any personal space. For the first time in years, I felt a quiet calm settle over me. The discovery phase revealed even more. Group chats, private texts, all pointing to deliberate attempts to coerce me into compliance. Logan's family had treated my savings as a target, a prize to be won by emotional manipulation and pressure. Every message, every strategy plan was now part of the legal record. I felt vindicated, but not vengeful. This wasn't about revenge. It was about protecting what was mine and ensuring they faced the consequences of their choices. At night, I sat alone, rereading my attorney's notes and the court documents. I thought about the power of foresight, of clarity, of standing firm when everyone else expected me to bend. Logan's silence during the confrontation now made sense. He had been caught between loyalty to his family and whatever he felt for me, but ultimately, my choices were my own. For the first time, I allowed myself a small smile. I wasn't just surviving, I was reclaiming control of my life. It wasn't long before the first signs of collapse appeared. The crypto platform that Logan's family had championed, so confidently, so arrogantly, began to falter. At first, small glitches, minor delays. Then the truth became unavoidable. The entire scheme had been built on shaky promises, insider manipulation, and borrowed funds masquerading as legitimate investment. Logan's family lost everything. $50,000 in combined investments, gone. In a single weekend, their empire of pride crumbled. I heard about it through mutual friends. His father was furious, yelling about how he would have had enough money to retire if only I had complied. His mother was silent, her tears no longer strategic but genuine. His brother raged on social media, blaming anyone but himself. And his sister? She disappeared, no longer the poised voice of reason she had pretended to be. I, meanwhile, sat quietly in my new apartment, my savings untouched, my apartment secure, my life finally mine. I allowed myself to exhale. No one could touch what I had earned, no one could manipulate my autonomy, and no one could rewrite my choices. Logan's silence was telling. He could not undo what had happened. He could not absolve his family, could not demand I return to a situation I had chosen to leave. And slowly I realized the gravity of what I had done, not just protecting money, but defending my life, my dignity, and my right to choose. The irony was sharp. The same people who had lectured me on loyalty, on sacrifice, on family first, were now fractured, humiliated, and desperate. They had gambled my future and lost, and I had done nothing but stand my ground. The fallout became cinematic in its own right. Arguments erupted within the family, trust vanished, blame ricocheted like bullets. Their carefully constructed unity was gone. I felt no glee in it, only a quiet, resolute satisfaction. I had not sought to destroy them. They had done that themselves. For me, life moved forward. The apartment was peaceful, my dog curled beside me, the noise of manipulation and chaos replaced by calm. My career was thriving, promotions coming in, and my bank account, a symbol of independence, continued to grow. The chapter with Logan and his family had closed, and I had emerged intact, wiser, and stronger. In quiet moments, I thought about what loyalty truly meant, not to family, not to partners, but to oneself. I had made the hardest choice, the one that no one expected, and in the end, it was the right one. The divorce finalized faster than I expected, a testament to preparation and foresight. My attorney ensured that my premarital savings remained mine, the apartment stayed under my name, and no spousal support was required. Logan's family, despite their posturing, had no legal leverage. Every attempt to twist the truth, every motion claiming coercion or hidden assets, crumbled under the weight of documentation I had collected. In the weeks that followed, a sense of calm settled over my life. The temporary restraining orders became permanent, ensuring that Logan's parents, siblings, and anyone connected could no longer harass me. The apartment management changed the locks immediately, and I finally felt secure in my own home. Life beyond the legal battles felt surreal in its simplicity. I had space to breathe, to think, to focus on myself. Work flourished, friendships strengthened, and my personal projects, long postponed, finally received attention. The financial stability I had fought to protect allowed me to dream again. Perhaps a small property, perhaps a business venture, or maybe just the peace of knowing I was fully independent. I heard snippets of Logan's family fallout through friends, arguments over money, broken relationships, lingering blame, but none of it reached me. I had chosen boundaries over chaos, and it worked. Then, one afternoon, a handwritten letter arrived. 5 pages, meticulous, apologetic, almost desperate. Logan's mother had written about regret, about how their manipulations had gone too far, about realizing that my choices had been reasonable and justified. She ended with a note that Logan wished he could reconcile, that she hoped someday I might forgive. I read it, and then I shredded it. Not out of anger. There was no more anger left, but because it no longer mattered. Their choices, their failures, their chaos were theirs to live with. I had made my choice, and I had lived it fully. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to imagine a future unburdened by manipulation and expectation. I was free, financially and emotionally. I had survived a storm orchestrated by those who believed they could control me, and I had emerged intact. Sometimes I reflect on what loyalty truly means. It isn't blind obedience, nor sacrifice at the cost of one's own life. It is the courage to stand firm, to protect what is yours, and to honor your own integrity, even when everyone else demands you bend. I am Natalie Keller. I am 35. I chose myself. And in doing so, I discovered that life, when reclaimed on your own terms, can be richer, calmer, and more fulfilling than any pressure, any ultimatum, or any expectation could ever have promised. The chapter with Logan and his family is closed. The new chapter, mine, fully and unapologetically, is just beginning.